The morning sun painted the hospital walls in shades of gold, but for Lily, everything felt gray. The air, thick with the scent of antiseptics, seemed to carry the weight of a 6-month vigil. Machines beeped, a slow, fragile metronome marking time in room 213. On the bed lay Ethan, his once strong frame now delicate, tethered to life by tubes and the soft hiss of oxygen. Lily sat beside him, her fingers trembling as she brushed a stray hair from his forehead. Every hour was a battle within her, a clash between the fierce love that made her want to hold on and the heartbreaking pain of knowing she had to let go. Their story wasn't a fairy tale. It began 12 years ago on a rainy afternoon in a small Oregon town. She was a nursing student. Her old car had broken down, and she'd stormed into the local garage, drenched and frustrated. He was Ethan, the new mechanic, with eyes that held storms and a smile that could calm them. "Car trouble?" he'd asked, wiping grease from his hands. "No, I just enjoy standing in the rain," she'd shot back. He just chuckled, a warm, easy sound that instantly softened her anger. He fixed her car for free, offered her a cup of coffee, and that one cup turned into a 2-hour conversation. They built a world from simple moments, long drives, late-night confessions, and dreams shared under the stars. He wanted to open his own shop. She wanted to be a pediatric nurse. But life had other plans. 2 years in, Ethan was diagnosed with a rare heart condition. The doctors mentioned a high-risk surgery, but Ethan, ever so stubborn, refused. He wanted to live freely, not hooked to machines. So, they pretended everything was fine. They got engaged, living each day as if it were a gift, each laugh a small miracle. But slowly, the borrowed time began to run out. The strong, vibrant man she loved started to fade. The breaking point came one night when he collapsed in the kitchen. The mug he was holding for her tea shattered, and in that moment her world shattered with it. He was rushed to the hospital. His heart was failing. He needed a transplant to survive. Lily spent her days on the phone, her nights in prayer, desperately searching for a miracle. And then it came. A donor had been found. It was his only chance. As they wheeled him into surgery, he whispered, "Don't worry, I'll come back to you." Those 6 hours were the longest of her life. The surgeon finally emerged, his expression a mix of relief and caution. Ethan had made it, but just barely. He woke up 2 days later, saw her tear-streaked face, and managed a weak smile. "Told you I'd come back," he whispered. She laughed through her tears, believing this was their victory. But it was only a temporary truce. Months went by, and his body began to reject the new heart. The medications stopped working. The man who had fought so hard was tired. One morning, he called her over, his voice a fragile whisper. "Lily," he said, his eyes filled with a love so profound it hurt. "Promise me something. When it's time, let me go. Don't keep me here because you're scared. Don't say that," she sobbed, shaking her head. "We'll find another way." He smiled, a soft, weary smile. "You can't save me from this, love. You've already saved me from everything else." Days turned into weeks. He slept more, drifting in and out of pain. The nurses called her strong, but she felt like she was breaking, piece by piece, in the silence of that room. One evening, as rain tapped against the window, he opened his eyes. "You remember our first rain?" he asked, his voice faint. She nodded, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. You lie, yo. I laughed because I knew right then, he said. "I was going to love you for the rest of my life, and I'll love you for the rest of mine," she replied, clutching his hand. He looked at her, his gaze intense, as if memorizing her face for the last time. His breathing slowed. "Lily," he whispered. "It's time. No, please, Ethan, you promised." Her heart screamed. She wanted to beg, to fight, to hold on. But then she saw the exhaustion in his eyes. He wasn't afraid of dying, he was afraid of leaving her in pain. She leaned in her forehead against his. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you more," he breathed. And with one final, gentle exhale, he was gone. The machine sounded a long, final tone, and the room fell silent. She didn't scream. She just sat there, holding his hand as the warmth slowly faded, feeling the world stop spinning. Outside, the rain stopped, and a single ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, landing softly on his peaceful face. "You can rest now, my love," she whispered. Weeks later, she returned to their home. His tools were neatly lined up in the garage. His jacket hung by the door. On the couch, she found his old notebook. Tucked inside was a note she'd never seen. In his messy handwriting, it read, "If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I know you'll cry, and I wish I could hold you, but promise me something. Don't let this love end with me. Live, laugh again, fall in love again, because all I want is for you to be happy. Thank you for loving me enough to let me go." Tears streamed down her face as she pressed the note to her chest. That night, she stood in their backyard under a sky full of stars and whispered, "I'll try to live the way you wanted." Years passed. Lily moved, became the nurse she always wanted to be, and helped others heal. She never forgot him. On what would have been their 15th anniversary, she visited the small memorial garden she'd made for him. She placed a single white rose on the stone that read, "Ethan Miller, loved beyond time." A gentle wind brushed past her. For a fleeting moment, she felt that familiar warmth, like his arms around her. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe it was him, keeping his promise to never truly leave. She closed her eyes and smiled. "You were right," she whispered. "It just changes shape." Thank you so much for sharing this moment with us. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking and subscribing for more content that explores the depths of human connection. We'll see you in the next one.